This is an in-depth analysis on the modern world and why we have this loneliness pandemic amongst men. The first reason why we have this loneliness pandemic that I can think of is because necessity is gone. If you look back 50 years ago, there were no porn sites, it wasn't so accessible, there was no big video games. And that's obviously a big factor, right? You don't need to talk to women if you already have your need for intimacy met with porn. You don't need to go out and make new friends because, well, you have video games. You can gain status through video games and competition. You can make friends online on Discord. Hey bro, get on, let's play some Fortnite. Necessity is gone. Before, 50 years ago, there was no porn, there was no games. If you wanted to make friends and have status and actually have a good life, you would need to go outside and talk to people. If you had no friends, then life would just be so dull you'd probably kill yourself. I probably shouldn't say that so early into the video. This is probably going to get really low views. So one of the major reasons is because necessity is gone. And I can't necessarily say it's bad. Technology is evolving. So are you going to say technology evolving is bad, or should you just say most people are getting used by technology, which sucks for them? But how about I don't get used by technology and I overcome it? Wouldn't that be more effective? Because technology will always be here and it's always going to evolve. It's not just going to suddenly disappear. We aren't going back to the good old days, which there were plenty of things back then that weren't even that good, probably way worse than now. So could you even call them good? Not really. We could say life was technically easier since things were cheaper. We could say potentially it was better because there wasn't any online stuff. But you don't need to use online stuff, and you can make money online. And when I say you don't need to use online stuff, you don't need to be addicted to social media. That's just on you. It's not on the media corporations. You just need more discipline, bro. And it's very difficult to have your phone on you and not use it. What I would recommend is to just put your phone out of your room, and then it's gone. You don't need to worry about it. It's a lot less likely that you're in your room doing work and then out of nowhere you stand up, you go to an entirely different room, you grab your phone and then you scroll on YouTube. Rather than, my phone is right there, I'm kind of bored of working on, let me just... So, I think one of the largest reasons is because there is no more necessity for it. All of your needs, biological needs, can just be met with your phone. Intimacy, let me go on. The Hub, friendship, let me just go on Discord, let's play some Fortnite. Status, let's play some competitive games, whatever. Every need is met. Entertainment, I could go bowling, but at the same time, I could just watch some YouTube videos. Because there's no necessity, people aren't going out of their way to talk to people because, of course, it's scary and it's difficult. Why would I go out of my way to go on the street, cold approach some girl, have the potential to get rejected, have to go on a date and all of this bullshit that you kind of don't want to do? When you could just kind of, search up a link and it's immediately met. So there is obviously a large amount of people who just do this, and that's why, of course, they don't have any friends and they are completely lonely. It's quite sad, to be honest. I should actually look up the statistic. Let me cut for a second. I need to check this out. So around 20% of men in the US have no close friends, and this is just in the US. Worldwide, it's probably even more. And then you also have to consider, this is people who have reported it, there were studies on it, and they purposely added what their life was like. Imagine all of the people who don't report this stuff. The real percentage is probably more 30-40% worldwide of people who have of males who have zero close friends. How sad is that? Imagine living life and having no one who you can trust besides your family. That is extremely depressing, bro. Extremely. Another big reason I would think is one of the key motivating factors for why there's this pandemic is school. If we look at school, it is a false simulation and representation of what the real world is like. They constantly say, school is preparing you for the real world, guys. No. Learning English in school, which doesn't actually teach you any English. I genuinely had a time in my life where I thought to myself, school can't all be useless. Everyone says school is completely useless. I'm sure I learned something in school. And I sat there thinking, retrospectively, have I learned anything in English? I mean, they teach essay writing. Wait. Have I learned anything in essay writing? I wrote essays, certainly. But have I learned anything in essay writing? Because I pay attention in class, I have pretty high grades. I learned nothing. I couldn't come up with anything that I learned, which is obviously a bad thing. If you learn something, you should remember it. If you make some huge progress in something you're trying to learn, sorry, my nose is itchy. If you make some huge progress in something you're trying to learn, you should remember something about it, right? There's no way you put in like months, years of effort into something and you don't remember it at all. So that's clearly an issue in school's part. And I thought about it, okay, English doesn't teach you essay writing, but they must teach me something. Okay, they don't teach you vocabulary. There's no like word of the day stuff. Maybe I learn about RUAE. They do teach me RUAE. Yeah, they do. But when do you ever use RUAE in the real world? In the real world, some people have jobs to write essays, right? If you're a lawyer, maybe at some point in your life, which is obviously still very rare, you may need to write a single essay. Maybe that'll help you. If you're a book writer, maybe it'll help you. But I'm trying to think, when does RUAE, which is, if you've been through the school system, you probably know it. Reading, understanding, evaluation, whatever it was, I don't even remember it. But it's this thing where you basically analyze text. And I can't think of a single profession in the entire world which uses that. It's completely useless. So school is completely useless, as we all know. But rather than just being useless, it's actually demoralizing men to actually try and talk to people, because it is a false representation of the real world. The makers, well, they don't purposely make it, it's kind of just set like this, but it is a closed community. So if you go to school, you'll always see the same people. It's not like you see new people. But in the real world, as long as like you aren't like some factory worker or doing one of these very mundane jobs, which is always the same. If you are, then so, that's what school prepares you for. But most people don't want to live in that life. And even so, most people aren't doing jobs with like in an office with the same people. A lot of men are doing jobs, like one of the most popular jobs, truck driving. You don't need to talk to anyone. You can be alone, isolated, whatever. School prepares you to live in this closed community where you see the same people every single day, which makes you fear. It makes you scared of doing anything against the norm. Because if you do something embarrassing, like for example, starting a YouTube channel, the people in your school community most likely will find that YouTube channel, will pick at you for it. If that happens, it's not just going to stop because you see the same people every single day. So the same people are always going to know that you have the YouTube channel and are always going to try and jab at you. Because it's the same people. But in real life, it's most likely going to be different people. You see different people throughout the year. You're not just stuck with the same group. So you can do something embarrassing and the next week you won't even see any of the people who were hitting at you for it because of it. School doesn't really simulate how the world actually is, and because of that, when you leave the school system, I assume, and I haven't left it yet, I assume after you leave the school system, you kind of be hardwired into thinking that the real world is the same, and you'll be scared of doing anything that would make you an enigma because you don't want to be like the odd one out. If you're the odd one out, then that kind of sucks, doesn't it? Now you have the same people insulting you, except you won't, because the real world isn't school. And people in the real world really can't be bothered with what you're doing. They have their own struggles. So it doesn't actually represent what's to be expected in the real world. It makes you fear things that aren't real, which of course is a very bad thing to do. Because now, when you do leave the school system, now you're just going to be this autist. You won't want to talk to anyone because you don't want to be judged. You don't want the same people to insult you. But the same people don't exist because you won't see the same people every day. Another thing is social media and societal pressure. This is, I think, it's quite an obvious one. Everyone talks about social media, so I'll keep this short. Social media enhances expectations by a large margin. So of course a lot more people feel insecure about what they have. I mean, if you scroll on Instagram, I can see why you're depressed. You're scrolling on Instagram, you're seeing all of these like rich millionaires living a life that you want but you'll never have because you don't want to work hard, and you have all of these limiting beliefs thinking that like business is impossible. It's impossible to make 10k a month, when I don't believe it is. And if you believe something is impossible, you won't achieve it, of course. It's impossible to become a doctor, then you won't become a doctor. It's like, that's just common sense. Your beliefs shape your reality. So you believe it's impossible, but you see all of these people living this life and you just have so much negative thoughts about it. You're so jealous. You're basically just depressed inside. You see all of these people living a life you want and you can't get it. And it just makes you feel so incredibly sad. And of course, when you have bad mental health, you can't talk to people. I've talked about this before. When you feel angry and pissed off, you won't talk to people as well, or you just won't talk to people at all. So you need to be happy, first of all, which is a prerequisite. And if you're always sad, I mean, depression is becoming a more and more common thing, which is obviously weird. If it was some sort of disease, then of course it wouldn't become more and more common. It'd kind of stay at the same rate that it's always been at. But out of nowhere, it's just randomly becoming more common in the West. Kind of weird. Kind of strange. Yeah, I won't like hint at it. Depression isn't a disease, that's bullshit. But I can understand why you'd feel depressed by going onto social media and seeing all of these people having a better life than you. I'd be fucking depressed too. That's why I don't scroll on Instagram or stuff like that. Why would you? It's unnecessary comparison. You use competition and a certain type of comparison to become better. But when you use comparison in the terms of, this guy is older than me and he's had more time to set his life up, and he's also just showing the best parts of his life, and I'm watching this and I'm depressed because I don't have anything he has. Of course you're gonna be depressed, bro. So social media is a huge aspect of this. Along with that, on social media, people give really bad advice. You'll often hear advice from especially from women. Advice from women saying men shouldn't cold approach, it's extremely rude. And now you have these thoughts thinking, well, if a woman said you can't cold approach them, then I guess that means I can't talk to women. I guess I need to be single and die a virgin for the rest of my life. Because some random woman who you don't know said that you can't cold approach women. When of course that every single human being is different. There are plenty of women who would get cold approach and actually be happy for it. There are plenty who would actually hate it. Of course, everyone is different. But you can't just go into the world assuming, okay, you can't cold approach women, so how do I meet women? Well, you can't. How do you meet women if you can't talk to them? That doesn't make any fucking sense. That is just bullshit. Or men, for example, since we're talking about general loneliness. Men often don't give that bad advice. I'm going to be honest. They don't give bullshit advice like that. And they don't give advice like that because they aren't as visceral as women. However, some men still do give some pretty bad advice, especially like the liberal ones. And you hear all of this bad advice and you absorb it, because even if you try to not absorb it, you subconsciously, slowly start absorbing the content you consume, the influences you have. You absorb all of this bad negativity. And before you know it, now you're just like social NPC level. You can't talk to anyone because everyone is telling you talking to people is bad. And of course, this is vice versa. There are people saying that you can't talk to people. You should talk to people like me. But the people who are watching those types of videos are probably already on the verge of becoming very social. We are talking about general male loneliness. Most males don't watch content like this. You're somebody who's weird. You're watching unedited videos like this. And you're learning from them. And you're becoming more social. That's weird. You're learning how to talk to people and enhance your social life. You're going to the gym and working out. You're trying to make money. What the fuck? You're weirdo, bro. Imagine talking to people. Couldn't be me. I would never ever do that, bro. Level 2, more like level 0. Oh. So you're a weirdo. Like, you're a complete enigma. You're watching unedited videos like this from a smaller content creator, which is unheard of. Like, this video is probably like, 30 minutes long? And you're what? Bro, it's something completely new. Most men aren't like you, that's the truth. So you have to understand that most men, they don't absorb content like this. And then even fewer men, like there are a few men who absorb content like this, but then even fewer men take action. I give so much advice. A lot of people may just watch it and then not do anything about it. I even have the social protocol, which is kind of like a program where I show people exactly how to be social. And I have like a course in it to get from level 0 where you can't talk to anyone to level 2 where you can talk to any man at any time, no matter what. So you can build like a vibrant social life, find brotherhood, whatever. And it's like there's a community in it, so you can meet people exactly like you on your path. Even there, I assume that there will be a few people who maybe watch the courses, spend money to join it. It costs like, £37. Well, spend money to join it. Well, talk in the community. And they literally won't take any action, which is quite silly if you think about it. I made it cost money. Well, first of all, I want to make bank as well. But I made it cost money. One of the specific reasons is because when you make something cost money, people value it a lot more. You aren't going to spend like £37 a month on this and then not learn to socialize. That just doesn't happen. But even then, some people will somehow find a way to just cope out of it and not do anything, which is quite crazy if you actually think about it. You're spending money to be here and you aren't like milking the shit out of it. Why? Doesn't make any sense. So you are completely right. We are talking about the general men of this world. Something that I think is very brutal for men is the focus on yourself, king mentality. A lot of people say that, like, focus on yourself, king. Don't chase, attract. Bullshit. It literally doesn't make any sense. Hey, don't chase women, attract them. What does chasing women even mean? Like physically running after them? Well, yeah. Don't be like a fucking criminal. I think you'd get a sexual assault charge for that. But of course, they are talking in this like simile sense, whatever, like this analogy. Talking to women is not chasing them. You often get this advice, like just focus on yourself, work out, build a business, and you'll get women. But you won't. It's not real. It's fake. It's propaganda. You even get propaganda from the red pill side. It's not real. Do you understand? It's just fake. It doesn't exist anywhere. There's no reality where I sit here. I go to the gym every day. I work on the business and I sit here. Working on my computer. And then out of nowhere, some hot 10 out of 10 girl comes into my house, opens my room and says, please, Prince, can I suck your dick? I'm really attracted to you. You go to the gym every day. You focus on yourself, please. I mean, for me, yeah, sure. But not for most people. I'm built different, so... But you get the point. You need to actually talk to women. I know it sounds so self-explanatory, but no one understands this. You need to talk to women and men. You don't make friends. You don't build relationships if you don't talk to anyone. This should be common sense, but everyone just ignores this for some reason. If you want to build a vibrant social life, you talk to people. Why are no women in my life? Well, how many women have you talked to? 0? Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe if you at least talk to a single woman a week, maybe eventually a woman will be in your life. But until then, bro, what are you doing? Of course you'll have no woman. And talking online isn't an acceptable option. That takes no discipline, it is not difficult, and there are so many men already texting her in her inbox. You most likely won't be the special guy who she just decides to reply to. It's just so rare. And even then, you still need to go on a physical date, so you still need to learn how to talk to them. So why not just learn in the real world? Common sense. You still need to learn to socialize. It's an extremely important skill. Again, social protocol. The fast lane to learn how to talk to people. It's just such... I feel like it's common sense, but no one understands this. It doesn't exist. You don't attract. Of course, yeah, you cold approach people, and then if you focus on yourself to a degree, you'll become more appealing. Your general value will increase and people will be more magnetized to you. If you're fat compared to if you're jacked, maybe if you cold approach somebody, the chance of them accepting you, whether it be a man being your friend or a woman being your girlfriend, it'll increase, of course. But you still need to talk to them, which is a skill in and of itself, right? You need to understand that focusing on yourself and not focusing on anyone else is not an acceptable option. You need to learn to talk to people. That is why most people can't, because they use this as an excuse. A lot of men actually go to the gym. It's not that rare anymore. Now, a lot of them don't have very good physiques, but they still do go. Like, their physiques aren't that bad. There are fatties, little like obese people who get 10 out of 10 just because they're charismatic. Like, think about that. It's not about focusing on yourself. It's just that you don't know how to talk to women. And I'm not blaming you. I've only started recently, so I'm not even like this pro at it or anything. I've only started. However, I still understand that it's a thing you need to learn and it is a necessity. It's not as simple as, oh, I just won't talk to them. I'll just focus on myself. I'll work out and eventually out of nowhere, I'll suddenly become the Rizzler. It's not real. I hope this video gave you some insights. Remember, actually before I end this video, subscribe, like, comment. Do you have any insights that you've gained from this? Have you learned anything? Are you going to take actionable steps on anything that I've said maybe? Comment, because then you can keep yourself accountable. And along with that, it boosts the algorithm, so more people are likely to get on this path, and then the chance of you going through your hometown and meeting somebody who's extremely social, just like you, who's also going to the gym, who's also starting a business, increases so much more, so you're more likely to make friends. Hope this video helped. Check the social protocol, top link in the description. Remember, consistency is over a lifetime. Bye bye.